talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about Conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Happy Monday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Mindset Monday. Mindset Monday is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about. And today we are talking about the CEO Clinician. Are you able to be a clinician and a CEO? My very special guest, Miss Cameisha Brewer, who is no stranger to Conversations with Nicole, is going to join us momentarily. So, I'm calling all counselors, all therapists, anybody that's interested in starting a private practice, or if you've already started a private practice, you do not want to miss this conversation. So tag a friend, let them know they need to be on here because this is going to be very insightful and a lot of gems and nuggets are going to be dropped tonight. So, tag a friend again. Let them know they need to be on here. Before I bring Cameisha on, I want to hear from you, if you will, in the comments. Let us know where and from. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and this is an interactive conversation. So we fully expect to hear from you. You're welcome. We're having a little bit of technical issue, but we're going to move right along. All right. So I see a few of you are tuning in, but no comments as of yet, and that's okay. We are, again, just trying to encourage folks to get their checkup from the neck up and to connect with clinicians of color because we all know that we all have had some issues, some traumas, some adverse experiences, and it is sometimes helpful to have a neutral third party to talk those things through. So I am going to go ahead and read some of Cameisha's bio. Cameisha is a therapist, a business coach, a speaker, and an author. She is passionate about helping people prioritize their mental health. Whether you've heard her speak at an event or talked with her during a session, any conversation with Cameisha is intriguing and thought provoking. Cameisha's extraordinary story of transforming her own life from being an orphan teen living on public assistance to becoming a successful entrepreneur with a thriving business is the inspiration behind her bold mission to teach others that with God, all things are possible. Today, fans across the country admire her mission of teaching people how to build a life they love by shifting their thoughts into alignment with their goals. Y'all help me welcome Miss Cameisha Brewer. Hey. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
My pleasure, my pleasure. I think it's been almost a year
It's been
since.
like 2. It was the first book. Yeah,
Oh
it's been like 2.
my goodness. Okay, gosh, the time just flies right on by. All right, well, I'm so glad to have you back. And if you will, for those who maybe missed you on before, tell us a little bit more about Cameisha. Who are you, not what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Cameisha. I love helping people. I love helping people with their mental health, with their businesses. I love helping people live well, whatever that means for them. I love all things family, relationships, making money, education, like all the things. I love doing those things. I love organizing my home. I love decorating. I love creating content. I love just doing things that make me happy and the things that bring me joy. I'm in a season of life where beyond being a therapist and an author and a business coach and a speaker, I just enjoy a simple life and doing things in a way that feels good to me. So that's really like who I am at my core, loving people, I'm introverted, but I do love having conversations that are meaningful like this one we're about to have tonight.
Yes, 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 yes. And you're based in Arkansas.
I am. I
Mm-hmm.
am in Central Arkansas.
Indeed, indeed. And you are a counselor. So you know, see clients on a regular, right? Not
Yes.
just an author. I list a whole bunch of things, but I just want folks to know that you do provide counseling services to, people who are in need of them.
Absolutely, yeah. So in my therapy practice, I serve high achieving professional women with high functioning anxiety. So I'm helping women with perfectionism, control issues, difficulty managing their calendar, setting boundaries, saying no. The women I serve are usually overly committed to doing all the things. And so I help those women learn how to scale back a little bit, but deal with that people pleasing tendency that
Mm.
makes them feel like they have to show up and always be on point and be at all the things and all the events. We learn how to simplify their life just so we can decrease the anxiety, not have them live some kind of way that's not in alignment with who they are, but just something slower, more sustainable. And I do therapy Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every single week, all day from the time I start to the evening. And I love what I do. I really do.
Wonderful. And so you were on last time. We talked about your first book. Those specifically those women who I am one of those women as well. So you stepped all on my toes the last time you were here, but it
Sorry.
was it was a good thing. So talk a little bit about your first book.
Yeah, so the first book is called Thought Life Confessions. It's Inner Conversations of Anxious Successful Women. And in that book, I am walking women through how to simplify their lives and how to deal with those mindset blocks that keep them limited and keep them in that negative cycle of feeling like everything has to be stressful and everything is overwhelming, and challenging some of those negative core beliefs that have been present for years, and just understanding that the way we think is a part of the way we go about our behaviors in daily life, the way we approach our goals and our relationships, even parenting our children. It really comes down to our thought life and the way that we think. So the book is designed, both my books are short reads, but I wanted to give women, especially women of color and faith based women who are Christians and who share my faith, practical steps and strategies that they can use to incorporate some coping skills for their anxiety through challenging their negative thoughts.
Yes, 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 yes. All great stuff. I mean, we definitely need to um tackle those negative thoughts because we do definitely have a lot of messaging that we are sorting through and comparisons and all of the things. So, but we have a second book that we have come out with.
Yes, yes, we do.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about the CEO Clinician
Yeah.
and what prompted
So okay, so I gotta take y'all back and tell you the story. So the CEO Clinician was created out of everything I was already doing in my business. I'm one of those people that I should have written the book first and then built online courses for therapists, built coaching programs for therapists, started doing VIP day intensives for therapists. Like I should have written the book first. That's not what I did. And
it.
so the book was always a part of the framework and lingering, especially through my live videos, through my podcast, the CEO Clinician podcast. And I don't know why I was stalling with writing. I really didn't feel like writing. I thought it was going to take me longer than what I wanted to do because I told you this, we were in the middle of building a house and moving. And so that's when I
Mhm.
wrote the book as if I had extra time on my hands to do so. So in the mornings, I would just go in the office and do the voice dictation and transcription to get the words out of my mouth and onto paper and send it to the editor. So I did it that way. So the book has always been in the works. I've been talking around it. The courses that I have has been the book in digital form. And so I wanted
Okay.
to have a cheaper option for people who were not ready for my online courses or not ready to do coaching, especially
Mhm.
for the new therapists just starting out. Because I remember what it was like to be a new therapist with a small budget and not able to afford some more premium price services, but still needing help with private practice. So I wanted to write the book as an additional resource that a new therapist could get their hands on easily.
Nice, 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 nice. So, um, this is going to be like the blueprint. So, for those of you who are, you know, maybe you're watching, but for whatever reason aren't, commenting, you're checking out the replay. This is going to be, I'm telling you, a great guide for you as you are preparing to start your practice, or if you already have a practice. Cameisha's going to lay out like the things that you need to do to be super successful in your practice. So I see my mom is with us. I gotta acknowledge mom. Hey mom, thank you for being here. She's down in Miami. All right, we got Dr. Anika Fields, who is a psychologist here in Tallahassee. She's actually the director of the counseling center at FAMU. Thank you for being here, Dr. Fields. I appreciate you. And we got Michael Love, a clinician over in Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you for being here, Michael. Appreciate you. All right, good deal. So let's get started with really our title. I mean, it is the CEO Clinician, which is the name of the book, but like really even more importantly, like can you do both? I mean, a lot of times with entrepreneurship, people want to do that thing that they like to do, right? They want to be doing the counseling, they want to be baking the cakes or doing the haircuts or, you know, doing the nails or cutting the grass. They don't want to deal with the contracts and the accounting and the bookkeeping or have to do the marketing and filling out the paperwork for their annual reports and all of that sort of thing. They don't want to have to fool with all of that. They just want to do that thing that they
Mhm.
like to do. So talk to us about how you even get started with that.
Yeah, so I think the first part is just the acknowledgement that therapists were not taught the business side of private practice while we were in graduate school. And I think that's one of the biggest gaps in our industry is that most therapists were only trained to work for an agency or work for a university, work for a community mental health clinic. And if that's not your path or if that's not something that interests you, if you make the transition into private practice, you are looking at a new set of realities. And sometimes that looks like living paycheck to paycheck, not knowing what to do, not being able to market and fill your caseload. And if you're in private practice and that's your only stream of income and you're struggling, people are people. So people don't show up on time. They cancel, they reschedule, they no show. Sometimes they will have insufficient funds in their bank account whenever it's time to run their cards. So, as a business owner, like, yes, you're the therapist, but you have to have the business mindset to make sure that you're okay and that you can pay your bills and you can make your bills on time, your rent, your mortgage, daycare for your kids, like all the things. And so, for therapists, there has to be two sides of it. Yes, you have to do the clinical piece, but if you're going to be in private practice, you also have to get the business side down because there's no way around it. Like there is no for the students that are in my courses and in my coaching programs, I tell
Mhm.
them there is no CEO. There's no VP of operations. There's no HR director, like all the things we got used to in agency life. Like you're all the things in your business. And so if you want to come out here in these private practice streets, it is so critical to your success and the well-being of your clients that you're prepared to do that. When therapists get stressed out about money, just being honest, we don't show up well in the sessions, and that
Mhm.
impacts client care. And we're not our best self. We're not listening well because we're also stressed out about the economy. And client may be in the office or on screen if you're doing virtual. The client may be crying about life and they don't have enough money for this, they don't have enough money for that. So if you're the therapist sharing that experience through your private practice, it's not the best experience for you or for the
Right.
client. So the business side can help that be more efficient and more streamlined in your operations and the amount of money you're able to make to take care of your family and to show up as a really good therapist and provide good quality care.
Hmm. So let me just pause because I see we have a few more people that have joined us. Miss Jeanette down in Miami Gardens, thank you for being here. And Dr. Yada Rozier, who is here in Tallahassee, she said, loving this online course talk, self-paced. Look, Dr. Rozier is a lifetime learner. So she is, definitely all about the online courses. So let's again just go a little bit deeper, like, because I know, in the book, mindset is like, yeah, everything starts with mindset. It's Mindset Monday,
Yes.
right? We know this. So how do you create a business mindset to help you achieve your goals?
I think a lot of it is just getting in the business spaces with other entrepreneurs who
Mhm.
understand business conversations and business decision making and business implementation, operations, and strategy. And most of the time, the therapist spaces, they're more about therapy. They're more about treatment plans and interventions and resources and referrals and different levels of care and treatment options, and all of those things are great, but those are more about the client. And so, as a business owner, putting yourself in rooms where there are other clinicians talking about business, talking about what they're doing in their business, talking about their programs, if they have programs, and not just the, oh, I created a course, but I'm not going to tell you how to create yours, but being honest and authentic and saying, hey, I'm a therapist. My caseload is full. I don't know what to do next. I want to grow and scale my practice, but I don't want a group option. Like, I don't want a group practice option. What other options do I have? And putting yourself in the rooms and in the spaces where people can answer your questions, because I'm one of those people that I like to share. I think there's enough room to go around. I work with a lot of therapists in my 8-week program, which is called Private Practice Ready, for the brand newbie kind of therapists. But for the therapists who are ready to scale, we have VIP coaching options where they get to do voice coaching with me every single day. So whatever you're working on in your practice, I can support you. But figuring out who I am requires networking and marketing. And that's my job as a business owner. But it's also making sure that when there's a live stream like this happening, that you tap in and that you share it to other therapists that you know, and then you get connected with whoever the speakers are. So learning the language and being in the rooms where business conversations are happening is key to the mindset part.
I think that you are spot on. And Michael also agrees. He says, you are speaking the truth. I've been in private practice for 2 years and I've experienced all of that. Yes, yes, yes. We got Tracy Gole joining us here in Tallahassee. Thank you for being on. And Tavares Sherrod, he is a clinician here in Tallahassee, and he's a massage therapist. Thank you for joining us, Tavares. You are definitely going to enjoy this conversation. All right. So I think, again, like you said, being in those rooms where business is being spoken of, because if you're not, then you're not going to understand the lingo. You're not going to understand, how to navigate all of that, right?
Yeah, and it can be intimidating at whatever stage of private practice you're at. There's a lot of therapists who in Facebook groups. That's kind of where I hang out and my team hangs out for marketing and for networking. But we'll comment if a therapist asks a question and we see it, we'll respond, we'll answer the question.
Mhm.
Sometimes I talk to people in the DMs. I'll send voice notes because I'm genuinely in it to support people. But at different levels of private practice, there's some therapists in the Facebook groups acting like they've always had it together and
Mm,
acting like their caseload has always been full and they've always made, the 6 and the 7 figures, and honestly, some of them bought a practice from
mhm,
somebody else,
mhm,
or they worked for a group practice and the group practice owner allowed them to take all of their clients with them, and
mhm,
that's not the case for everybody. Some therapists, they are literally starting from the bottom with no business knowledge, no clients, no money to figure it out, and bills just stacking up and coming in. So those therapists, they need support too. And I
mhm,
think just for like the circle of life as a therapist, I think that when you get to the point where you're doing well financially, I think we have an obligation and a responsibility to reach back and help those that are just getting started. And I'm
mhm.
not saying help them forever for free, because there is a business side to it, and it's I think they're going to get more out of the experience when they pay a little bit to learn something and save their money, and then they can pay a little bit more. But I
Mhm.
do think we have an obligation to go back and help, because a couple years ago, that was some of us. We didn't have clients, we didn't know what to do, and now we get to speak on stages and be on the podcast. And now sometimes we can get a little bougie and get amnesia about where we were when we first started our private practice. And so that's my heart, is to make sure that the new therapists also feel supported.
Absolutely. Tavares said they sure do. And I am definitely wanting to learn more of the business side of things. So he is a registered intern currently. So let me ask you this. You mentioned, really, it sounds like mentorship would be, of course, very helpful. Did you have any mentors, either formally or informally, as you were developing your practice?
I did. I had several therapists in the field and in the area that kind of took me under their wings, and they taught me, like, okay, Cameisha, this is what you need to do for your clients. This is what needs to be on the paperwork. But I didn't get everything from one place. So I had some therapists who were teaching me about insurance. I had other therapists teaching me about marketing. And of course, I had a supervisor. My supervisor was great, but he did not look like me. He was significantly older, a little bit more old school in his approach. And he told me that it was going to take about 2 years for me to build a caseload. And at the time, I was working for an inpatient psych hospital with children, and I didn't want to wait for 2 years. And I was like, what can I do to speed up this process? And the answer to it didn't come from my supervisor, but the answer to it was learn the business and
Mm,
learn how other people build businesses and try to apply that to our industry. And granted, some things we can't do because of HIPAA and confidentiality. Like, I understand those things, but a lot of therapists move like we're part of the CIA or the Secret Service, and everything has to be a secret, and it really doesn't. And so some of these advanced level marketing strategies that will help a therapist get their caseload filled faster, those things we can actually do. And there's a lot of therapists who are afraid to do it because they think, oh, everything's unethical. And it's really not. It's just not being done, because a lot of therapists, they're just scared and they're just intimidated. And so I think having mentors who are bold in their career and that are okay with challenging, systemic oppression, and that are okay with speaking truth to power when things are not right and there's social injustices happening in the mental health field, that's a part of mentorship as well. So it's not just the business side of private practice, but connecting with mentors that inspire you, connecting with mentors who are honest and willing to answer your questions, and making sure that who they are, what they do, and what they believe in their values are something that you want to learn from, because
mm,
it's not going to be a good fit all the time, but it doesn't mean you can't learn. And sometimes what you learn is like, okay, I don't want to be like them. I
mm,
don't want to run my practice like they run it. I don't want to allow clients to run my schedule where I can't take a vacation because I'm so worried about a client being upset because I decided to take a break. So there's so much you can learn. And I'm a forever student too. So I love just learning from different people and learning how they do business and how they do the business of private practice through mentorship.
No, very well said. You stated a lot there. I, mentorship, like you said, is important. And so you got to just kind of know how to, pick and choose the things that you want to use, because of course everything doesn't apply to everybody. But when I heard you talking earlier, it just caused me to think about that. So let's chat about the money aspect, right? Because that's another component in the book. So how do how do you recommend clinicians price their services and sell them through the relationships that they build?
Yeah, so pricing services can be a loaded conversation, because I think there's a lot of different factors. Like, there's an entire anatomy of the fee and the fee structure based on the business model, based on what other clinicians are charging in the area. And so, considering all of the things, if you are a therapist in the middle of New York City in like a highly populated area with a lot of successful people, your rates may actually be different from someone who's in rural Texas or rural Arkansas, where the population is like 500 people. and most of those people are on, fixed incomes, or they have disability and Medicaid and Medicare. Like, that's a whole different business model and pricing structure. So whenever you're pricing your services, I think you need to do some research and figure out what other clinicians are charging and get somewhere close to it. And we do that for other services. If you're looking to get a hairstylist, you got the hairstylists that do hair in the kitchen and might be $50, and then you got the other hairstylists that are downtown in the fancy salon. That same service might be $400. So you get
Mm,
what you pay for, but you also want to think about the experience and the type of experience that you provide your clients. And when it comes to pricing services, I also think you need to price your services based on the value you can articulate to your client and the value you can deliver. So if you're not very good at therapy, you may not be ready to start charging people $350 for a therapy session, especially like if you're an intern or you've only been licensed for 2 days. Like, I don't recommend charging what everybody else is charging as you're still
right.
getting your feet wet. Now, if you can do what you want to do, but just understanding your license type, where you are in your licensure journey, what you feel confident in charging, and then through the marketing, the people who are paying, which is the clients, they decide if they're going to pay you. So I
Mm,
see a lot of therapists that are kind of on the fence between having a private pay practice because it's popular online, it's trending. Oh, I'm cash pay only. I'm cash pay only. Okay, that's cool. That works for you. But some people that have great benefits, they want to pay their $25 copay instead of paying the full $200. And
yeah.
so you can't make somebody pay you your full fee if they
Right.
have the option to go see somebody else and pay their copay. So
Mhm.
when you look at your pricing structure, I think you need to calculate, and I'm a numbers girl, so you need to calculate how much you need to make for home, how much you need to make for the practice, how much you need to make to pay your taxes, how much you need to make for emergency savings, and even like a fun project. But making sure that all the numbers make sense. You don't have to do all the things. You don't have to have online courses and coaching programs and a book and a podcast. You don't have to do all of that, but just do what makes you happy, do what feels good, and do the type of service and the type of business that you feel confident in. And that's going to show up in the way you price your services and the way you deliver through that client experience.
So I heard market research in terms of
Yes,
what the area is kind of allowing and demanding for your location. And then also the client to some extent will also dictate some of that as well, right? Because of the value that they put on the service that you're providing.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. Good
Yeah.
deal. We got a couple of folks that have joined us. Let me get Tavares's comment though. He said, I just had that experience of learning what I don't want to do in regards to group or private practice. I'm very glad I got the experience though. Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Tavares. We got Miss Tanisha Miller on. She agrees. She said, I know that's right. Yes. She's here in Tallahassee. We got Ozzy Daniel on in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Thank you for joining us, Ozzy. And Michael was giving an amen to your comment earlier. Keosha is joining us in Tallahassee. Thank you for being here, Miss Keosha, and Jacinta in Tallahassee as well. Thank you for joining us. So, whew, all right. So the money, we got to make sure that money is all right, right?
We do. We do.
Oh, and Miss Jamil is joined us as well. She is also here in Tallahassee, a clinician here in Tallahassee who just started her private practice not even a year ago. So we are super excited and delighted that she is with us tonight. So we are just shy of halfway through. I'm gonna go ahead and just do my little station ID for those of you who are just joining us. I am on with Miss Cameisha Brewer, who is a clinician. She is a CEO clinician in Little Rock, Arkansas. She has been on here before, but she has a new book that is getting ready to be released in January. You can do pre-orders, and we'll tell you about all of that in just a little bit. But it's all about being a clinician with your own private practice, kind of like the ropes to skip and the ropes to know, as it relates to all of that. So thus far, we have talked about the mindset that you have to create, the business mindset that you have to achieve those goals of creating your private practice, the money, learning how to price your services and sell them through the relationships you build. And next, I want to talk about the marketing, how to create an online and offline presence to attract ideal clients. So, what does that kind of look like?
So I teach old school relationship based marketing because
Okay.
it works. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time now, even working in the nonprofit spaces. So regardless if you're for profit, nonprofit, corporations, private practice, like whatever your business model is you're going to need relationships, and you need people who know about your services, people who can speak well of you, people who can clearly communicate and articulate who you are and what you do and the problems that you solve. So when I'm meeting therapists for the first time and they DM me and they're like, "Hey, Cameisha, we heard you're a business coach. What do you do?" I tell them I help therapists learn how to set up, structure, market, and scale their mental health private practice in just 60 days. So if any part of that resonated with where they are of learning how to set it up, how to structure it, how to market, how to scale, and them wanting to get there in 60 days, now we have an opportunity to have a conversation. And it's also something that is simple enough that they could repeat it to another therapist and tell the other therapist what I do. And so part of the reason we need so many relationships is, for example, even tonight, every time you get ready to launch a new product or launch a new service, if you have people who believe in you, people who know you and they know your heart, they know your vision, they have a good experience with you, you get ready to write a second book like I did. Thankfully, Nicole allowed me to come back to her show to speak to her audience and to promote the book. That's a relationship. We talk in between shows. So I haven't been on the show for like 2 years, but I'm still checking in. I'm still sharing her content. I'm checking to see how she's doing personally and really taking the time to get to know people. And so when you are a business owner in private practice, you also need relationships, and you need to take time nurturing those relationships, cultivating those relationships. I don't recommend just sliding into people's DMs saying, "Hey, let me come be on your podcast," or sliding into people's DMs saying, "Hey, let me come speak to your organization." It's like, well, hold on
What?
now.
Wait a minute. Right
Like,
there.
who are you? What do you do? Why do we need you here? Like, what's the story? Who do you
Right.
serve? Where are you from? Relationship building is a long game. And a lot of therapists, they start rushing out of desperation, like, "Oh, I need clients. I need clients." You need to
Mhm.
build relationships with people who are decision makers that can help bring you in to speak to their audiences and do it the slow way. Like, I'm not saying it has to take 3 years,
Right.
but you do need to take some time to get to know people. And the more you serve and provide a good experience, the more people will talk about you. They will share. You won't even have to ask them to share. It will just be second nature to them, like, "Oh, you need to have this person come speak. You need to do a group therapy session with this therapist over here and invite them in." Like, those things will naturally start to happen when people know you. And so having relationship based marketing and building a presence online and offline helps therapists be successful in private practice. When I'm coaching therapists, I never recommend that they put all their eggs in one basket like Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. Like, you need to be visible, but
Whew.
old school chamber of commerce still works. Old school, your local college or university, the parent teacher association director down the street, those
Yeah,
relationships still work. And so putting in the work to build authentic relationships is how you create longevity and success in your practice.
absolutely. Again, you have said a lot. We got a few folks that have chimed in. Miss Melissa Como from Heartfelt Counseling Center down in the Central Florida area. She said, yes, relationships are key. And Mr. Joseph Ward on the Shoulders of Giants, who's here in Tallahassee, he said, hey, Nicole. And he said, again, relationship building, yes. And Joe knows all about relationship building. So very, very important work. All right. So that is definitely part of that marketing, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it is. And
Jamil,
sometimes it's not pretty.
no.
Sometimes you marketing with people and don't nobody see it. Like, you're not gonna get likes and comments for everything. Sometimes it's old school phone calls and sending an email and pulling up, bringing coffee and donuts. It's really getting in there with them. They're doing a backpack drive at the church. Take a backpack and some school supplies and really get to know people. And yeah, it's not always pretty, but it works.
Yes, Jamil said authentic relationships equal longevity. Yes. So you got to be there for the long haul. And it is, a lot of people skills, right?
Mhm.
It's a lot of people skills. And it's a lot of caring. That saying that says no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Mhm. And it's so true. When
Hmm.
people don't feel like you care about them, they don't do business with you. They don't come back. And they
Yeah,
tell people what the experience was like, and that can hinder you from future business opportunities. And yeah, it matters how you treat people in every service as you're building your practice and any other type of business as well.
indeed. So now you talked about like sliding up in people's DM, right?
Yes.
Learning how to create a online presence that'll attract ideal clients. So I will say, I have had quite a few guests on my show that I did not know. I did introduce myself to them in my DM, in their DM, but it was more of a like, hey, I'm Nicole. I have this show. Um, and I'm targeting, right? Because I'm really looking
Mhm.
for clinicians of color. And most of them have been very open to that. So what would your recommendation be a CEO clinician who is trying to create this online presence, but build relationship through online and sometimes with strangers who they don't necessarily know?
Yeah, I think before the DM slide, I think it's important to engage with people, like a few of their posts, comment on some of their posts, share it, ask them questions, and like be found being friendly, right? Especially if your brand is not established. Now, I think you slid in my DMs at one point, Nicole, but I think somebody else was on the show. It may be Kinsey, and like she was on and I
Yeah,
was in the comments, and as soon as it was over, like that makes sense because strategically, let's just be
right.
real, when you're a speaker and you see someone else speaking, like yeah, I got on to hype up my girl Kinsey because I love her, but also I'm like, if Nicole pitched me, because I asked Kinsey, I was like, if Nicole slid in my DMs and asked me to be on the show, if Kinsey cool with it, I'm gonna be on the show too, right? So all of that's strategic though, because um I didn't have to ask Kinsey, right? I asked her because I love her and I respect her, and I don't ever want her thinking like, "Oh, you got an opportunity. I want to go there too." But since you slid in my DMs and I am a speaker and this is what I do, I'm like, okay, let me go see who Nicole is. I can tell she has a high quality show and she has a full production. This would be good for my brand. This would be good for her brand. It makes sense. But if you're not there yet and you don't have an established brand, you need to take time to get to know people. Now,
Yeah.
people pitch me all the time, right? Because I have an established brand. They
Mhm.
see my podcast, they see my live streams. I'm like, oh, we can make this work. Our audiences are similar. I can add value to your audience. And this is going to be something that's really, really good for both of us. But if you don't have that yet, you may have to do it the slow way because that's a great way to be left on red in the DMs and have people just not respond and not message you back because they're like, okay, who is this person? Why are they reaching out to me? Especially if it's, a name from another country that looks like spam, or if it's a name that they don't recognize, or they go to your profile and you don't even have any content there where they're like, okay, what do they do? Who do they serve? There's no links to the website. There's no links to other social media profiles. They don't see you speaking on somebody else's stage. They don't see you like, why would they do that? So if you're going to slide, make sure that you are properly positioned to be in somebody's DMs. Like, okay, I'm a real professional. I understand the business. I understand how marketing works. I'm ready to come add value and not just, oh, I want to be on there so people can see me and I have nothing to say. So that is my recommendation before you slide.
This is listen again. You have said a whole lot, okay? Because child, you don't send me no friend request and you don't have no engagement on your page. You ain't did no post at all, nothing. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Uh-uh. And then too, as you were stating, like also while cold calling, and that's what I call it, like sliding people's DMs and you don't know them, is not really my ideal way of connecting with folks. But that's kind of the nature of social media now.
Mhm.
Ideally, it would be great if somebody could introduce you to someone and you can connect that way. I think,
Yes.
I think it was either Kenzie or Isis. I don't know. We giving a shout out to both of y'all. Look, I call them the
Yes.
Arkansas crew because I love them. They
We in
all
there.
listen, all three of y'all. I tell y'all, I'm coming to Arkansas. I need to make that happen in 2024. But
You should.
Isis introduced me to Kenzie, Cameisha, or somehow or another, and all of that came from Dr. Janelle Nicole, who's here in Tallahassee, but who is from Arkansas. But anyway, yes, again, all of that is just spot on, spot on, spot on, spot on. Um, let's see. I see you, Miss Tanisha. She said may she have my endorsement for your Avon business. We'll talk about it offline. All right. Joseph, she is dropping gems on us. Indeed, she is. And Melissa said, when I have people reach out to me on my live talks, I like to have virtual chat with them before. It helps to make sure we're a good fit to work together and helps the flow when we collaborate. Absolutely. Everybody has to have a conversation with Nicole before they come on
Yes.
Conversations with Nicole. Yes. Plus, it helps grow connection in our communities. Absolutely. Absolutely. And she said, I appreciate the convo. We appreciate you too, Melissa. So yeah, you definitely want to do that because you don't want any surprises, later on because you didn't take the time to kind of do that due diligence up front, right?
Yeah, and there's especially for therapists, like there's so many hot topics that people want our opinions on. They
Mm,
want us to talk about politics and abortion and religion and spirituality and people being transgender. Like they want the therapist's opinion, but when you're a speaker and you're a therapist and you're building a brand, you have to be mindful of the platforms you go on, be
mm,
mindful of what the questions are. Like, Nicole, we talk. And so I have a feel for your flow. I'm a fan of the show. And so I kind of know how you're going to phrase your questions. But for the people that I don't know well, we ask for the questions early because I want to make sure that I'm prepared. I'm not going to get blindsided with a question that has nothing to do with what I teach, and
yes.
to make sure that I'm on brand and we're on topic. And those things are a part of the business mindset of being a CEO clinician, is not allowing people to exploit your expertise for the sake of their
Absolutely.
own viewers. Because you know how people, they, especially on social media with cancel culture, like they'll take a clip and take it completely out of context and it'll go viral on social media. And now you're not getting clients in your therapy practice because of a clip. And so
Mhm.
you want to be mindful of all of those things as a CEO clinician and know that, all opportunities are not good opportunities. Like it could be a good thing, but not a God thing. And so it's important to just not desire the microphone or desire a platform or a stage just to be seen. If it's not a good fit, I say no to more opportunities than I say yes to, just because I don't want to be everywhere. If I look at the hosts, if I look at their page and they're posting a lot of things that don't align with what I believe and what I value and what my book is about and what my brand is about, I'm not coming. And it's okay. It is
You
totally fine.
you better say that. She said it might be a good thing, but it's not a God thing. And listen, it needs to align with your purpose, with your passion, with your plan. So every platform is not going to be your platform. It's just not.
It's not.
So you
And it's
need to be
okay.
selective, and it is okay. Absolutely okay. I hope this is good for y'all because it's good to me. I'm being edified right now through this conversation. All right. So the last point is movement. How to become a leader and build a team to help you scale your practice for the future. Ooh, now this is the part right here.
Yeah. So
Listen,
movement.
because as an entrepreneur, let me just say this real
Hmm.
quick. As an entrepreneur, look, you start out as a solopreneur, typically,
Right.
right? And so again, you doing all the things, right? But you so busy doing all of the things, like you can't, maybe necessarily get new business because you got to do payroll or you got to do the marketing, you got to do get some new some check out the contracts, you got to do the accounting, all of that. And so at some point, if you want to scale up, you got to get some people on the team to help you.
You do. You do. And the movement piece is more so about leadership and decision making and understanding what you're ready for and who needs to support you in those efforts. There's a point in time where you need to be working in the business, like doing therapy with the clients or in the clinical piece, notes, treatment plans, all those things that are required by you as the provider. But then there are other times where you need to be outside working on the business, and working on the business may mean marketing. It may mean creating a post on social media for a new position. And it could be a marketing assistant or a marketing intern. One of my first hires was a marketing intern for the summer. She needed hours. She was struggling to find an internship. One of her professors, relationship building again, one of her professors made a post and was like, "Hey, can anyone use a marketing intern? I have a student who can't find placement." And that professor wasn't even a marketing professor. I think she was like College of Bible and Religion. She was my former mentor when I was at the university. And so I DM'd her professor and I was like, "Hey, who's your student? I'll take her." Mind you, I was ready, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't as poised and professional with my onboarding process for a new hire. But worked with the intern. It was a great fit. The things she wanted to learn were the exact things that I wanted to offboard from my plate
Mhm.
and take it off my list of responsibilities. And like she was so thankful. I was so thankful. And I continue to be her mentor. Even now she's graduated. She's in grad school now. But that was my first hire. So she worked for me all summer creating social media content. And it wasn't paid at the time because it was an internship, but as soon as she finished, I just kept her and I paid her what I could afford to pay her per
Mhm.
week. It wasn't much, but those were the things I needed to do because while she was working on creating content, scheduling posts to social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, I was working on creating my course. I was working on developing coaching programs, learning sales strategies, learning how to teach therapists how to grow and scale their business. There was no way for me to be able to do that if I was still working on the business because I'm creating social media graphics. Graphics are cool, but I don't make money from the graphics. They were just for visibility strategy for people to get to know who I am, get to know what I do, get to know the CEO Clinician framework and what I teach. So whenever you start looking at growing and scaling, I'll give y'all to play now a little bit, but I highly recommend you just write down every single thing you do in the business as a CEO,
Mhm.
everything that's related to marketing, everything that's related to billing and the finances, things you turn into the CPA. If you don't have a CPA, we need to get ready for the CPA now, not next year. Like start doing your end of year reports, get your bank accounts cleaned up. If you need help, I'm doing an end of year workshop this Saturday at 11 to help with that end of year audit for private practice. But you need to get all those things in place because that's a part of your movement. And how you got to think about, okay, what do I have the capacity to do if I don't have anybody to help me? We talked about another person who's on my team who handles speaking engagements for me. She makes sure I have the questions and the links on where to log in, that you guys have the press release, y'all have the synopsis of the book, y'all have a cover of the book for your marketing materials. Y'all have got my headshot. Like all of those things had to be done on the back end because that helps me move better. Now I can show up and just teach and speak and do what I do best. But I wasn't fumbling around looking for links today. I wasn't looking for, well, what questions is Nicole asking? What time does it
Mhm.
start? Somebody on my team already had that done. So my movement and the flow of what I could do as a CEO was so much better because I hired a couple of people to help me.
Listen, Cameisha got people, y'all. So I'm gonna be like her one day. But that's good. That's how you scale up, right? So because now that you've hired them to do this work, now you could be out there, you know, developing more business, making new connects and making more billable opportunities, right? Which is
Yes.
what it's all about. So we have Dr. Taronda Lee, who is over in Tuskegee, Alabama. Thank you for being here. She said, people who take every opportunity are opportunists. And she said, what's for you is yours. Yes, ma'am. We got Marcus Boston, author in Tampa. He said, reliable people are so valuable. Indeed, they are. Indeed, they are. And Ishmael Rentz, who's in Gainesville, he said, when it comes to scaling, be diligent with budgeting and financing. Know your numbers is a must. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I think sometimes therapists, they start rushing into scaling because
Yeah.
they have a version of the word scaling and what it has to look like. And
Mhm.
honestly, it doesn't. Sometimes scaling could mean doing less and scaling back on your time or scaling back on the number of clients that you see and looking at the budget, looking at the numbers to see what you can afford and what your next steps need to be. In the book I teach about making data-based business decisions and
Mm,
not just, oh, this feels good, let me do it. Like, can you financially afford to try it? Because sometimes in entrepreneurship, the new hires, they're an experiment. We don't know if they're going to work out. We hope they don't make a mistake. But if they do, how much is the mistake going to cost us? And how
mhm.
long will it take the practice to recover from a team member's mistake? Sometimes it can be, an entire month or 60 to 90 days of payroll from the one mistake, depending on how big it was. So you definitely want to look at your numbers and look at the budgeting to make sure that the type of scaling you're considering doing, it makes sense. And if it doesn't, wait, like save more money, give yourself more of a cushion and make a smart investment, get a mentor or a coach or a consultant to help you so you're not out here blowing money and you could have avoided some mistakes. And I did that. I will always be paying for coaching because I like getting the cheat codes. I like learning, but if I don't have to learn the hard way and the slow way, yes, I will definitely pay for the cheat code for someone to help me do it. And yeah, that's been a part of my movement and a part of my scaling for the last few years.
Nice, 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 nice. So, a coach to help along the way can also be quite helpful. And, you mentioned sometimes it's doing less, not more. So, really, as Ish said, knowing those numbers, making sure it makes sense, right? You don't want to be doing more and then losing money, right?
Right.
hmm
Yeah.
So,
And I think some of that is just knowing your strengths and
yeah.
knowing what your skills are. I know that I can only do therapy 3 days a week now because it's not as enjoyable as it used to be when I first started out in the field. I'm a little older now. I have
Mhm.
changed a little bit. There's some other things that have my attention that I enjoy doing more than therapy. So
Yeah.
knowing that about myself and how I've grown in the field and grown as a person, my schedule has to reflect where I am in my personal life. And on
Mhm.
the days where I want it to be slower because my husband gets off early, I'm not seeing clients today. We going out, we gonna get something to eat, go to the mall or whatever, but that has to be a part of what feels good to you and make
Yeah.
sure your schedule reflects that.
Well, I see that as wisdom and growth, right? Because, you recognize and have that level of self-awareness to know, I can only do about 3 days of this, right? I used to be able to do five and then I scale back to four, but about 3 days is kind of my limit. And it's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. And I got these
Yeah.
other things that I can do now, right? Now I
Yes.
can spend that time writing a book or doing a podcast or creating some course content or what have you. So there are other things that you can do that will bring you levels of satisfaction and joy, and it can be monetized.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we are coming to the end of our conversation, but I definitely want you to talk a little bit more about this book and tell folks, what they get for pre-ordering the book because the book is not out yet, but it is about to be out next month. So tell them about the book and then we'll wrap up with closing remarks and all that sort of stuff. So talk about the book.
Yeah, so the name of the book is The CEO Clinician. It is available on my website, cbrewerconsulting.com, and you will see the pop-up about how to pre-order your copy. The official release date is my birthday, January 5th, and yeah, I'm a real Capricorn. So I'm really excited about the book project. When you pre-order before January 4th, you will get the audio training, it's the audio version of chapter 12, Beyond the Book. You're also going to get the companion guide workbook to use as you're reading the book. Like I wanted you to be able to read the book, write some things down. I've given you space to write within the book, but you also get the workbook that you can also use. And then your third bonus for pre-ordering is that you will get a personal invitation to the official book launch party, which will be Thursday, January 11th. And it's virtual, so for everyone who's in another state, you're more than welcome to come and log on. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have some games, some giveaways. I'm going to be letting you guys hear from my marketing students who have been in my courses and programs. They have gone through the CEO Clinician framework, which is what I built the book on. You'll get to hear about their success stories and how we literally got their caseloads full in 60 days. Like it's not a game, it's not a gimmick that I use in my marketing. I literally teach therapists what they need to know in order to set up, structure, market, and scale their mental health private practice in just 60 days. And that is the book, The CEO Clinician.
Love it. Wow, that is phenomenal. I'm so happy for you and so excited about this book.
Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes. So you all see it scrolling on the bottom. You can pre-order. There's the link, and you get a bunch of bonuses with that, especially if you do it before the launch date, which is going to be on January 5th. And then there's also the launch party on January 11th. So you definitely want to take advantage of all of that. All right, so folks are chiming in. So Marcus Boston, author, has 17 books that he has authored.
Oh
So
my
he's
goodness.
super excited about books. Yes. All right. So Joe said, great conversation. Shout out to all my Capricorns. All right. Ozzy said, congratulations. And Jamil, I absolutely will be purchasing this book.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to give you an opportunity to give any closing remarks and tell folks how they can connect with you.
Okay. Look, I'm a church baby, so I'm a PK. So immediately when I hear closing remarks, it takes me right back to old school church in Arkansas. So my closing remarks are they're super simple. And if you're in the process of building your private practice, you're trying to figure out what to do, you don't understand the business, you're struggling with imposter syndrome, and you really feel like it's going to take you forever to get a full caseload, I want you to know that you don't have to do it the hard way. It can be simple, it can be customized. I have worked with therapists who are like, Cameisha, I don't want 20 clients. I only want 5. Like I'm a new mom or I have chronic illnesses. I can't see that many people. I don't want to. Can you teach me how to get 5? I'm like, absolutely. I can teach you how to get as many clients as you can handle and what you want to have in your private practice. But please remember, you don't have to do private practice by yourself. It's okay that you don't know the business side. No one taught it to you. We know that that's a gap in the industry. And that's a part of the work and the mission that I'm doing is equipping and training graduate level therapists and newly licensed therapists, and even the therapists that have been in the field for 20 years and are tired of agency life and just want something that's more time friendly and something that they enjoy and has the more freedom and flexibility for their schedule that they want. So get a copy of the book, The CEO Clinician. Make sure you listen to the podcast, the CEO Clinician podcast. Get on my email list. I send you business tips and resources every single week so you can have access to those things. If you have a question, send me a DM. Please slide in my DM. I encourage you to slide in my DM. Ask me questions. I'm happy to send you a voice note, and I need you to know that you can absolutely become a CEO clinician.
Love it. All right. So connect with her Facebook, Instagram, website. She's also on LinkedIn and YouTube, but we didn't put that up. But these are a few ways that you can connect with her, and definitely get the book. Get the book, because we talked about so many different things tonight: the mindset, the money, the marketing, the movement. And you definitely want to get that blueprint so that you can level up. And if again, private practice is something you want to do, or if you already have a private practice and you want to improve what you're already doing, you want to get the CEO Clinician. All right. Well, I am again very honored that you came, and I feel like we kind of got a little sneak peek tonight of what can be expected in the book. I can't wait to get my copy. And so you are doing such great things, Cameisha. Again, I'm just so proud of you and so happy for you. And just
Thank
wish
you.
you all the best.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone that is already ordering your
You're
books.
welcome.
We appreciate it. And I will be signing everybody's copy. So thank you so much for having me, Nicole.
All right. So our I'm having a little technology problem. Are you seeing me?
I am.
Okay, cool. All right. So um I missed what you said because I froze a little bit, but um again, y'all connect with her. I hope this has benefited you all, who the viewers. For those of you who are catching the replay, again, connect with Cameisha because she is always doing something uh great and wonderful, whether it's on her podcast, whether it's writing another book. I'm sure there's another book coming out soon. uh, as well as she has these online courses and classes that you could take advantage of and one-on-one sessions. So she is definitely a someone to look to for guidance if you are a clinician that is interested in becoming a CEO or owning your private practice. All right. So Dr. Phil said good stuff. All right. And Marcus, I see you, Nicole. Thank you, Marcus. All right. For those of you who may be new to the platform, uh, I definitely want to invite you to subscribe to the Conversations with Nicole YouTube channel. We are here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, focus on mental health and wellness in Black and Brown communities. Conversations like this are exactly what we're here to do, connect you with people that are doing this type of work in the community. And community is not relegated to your space and area that you're in, because of course, because of the internet and such, we are now global, right? So we can speak to Cameisha in Arkansas and hear about all of the great things that she's doing. All right, good people. Well, I have enjoyed this conversation. And again, I hope you have as well. Jamil said this was very informative conversation tonight. Thank you, Nicole. Congratulations, Cameisha, on your new book. Yes. Thank you, Jamil. All right, y'all. We will catch y'all next time. Have a great evening and get the book. Bye.